Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be in this bright and wonderful world we live in. This is the Aloha Hour as the bell tolls. I am here with my co-host, Edwin Boyette. I think we're just going to make this a regular thing, brother. This is so much fun.
It is. It is. And aloha to everyone in YouTube land.
I'm going to go ahead and shut my mail off so that we don't have to hear every alert. I should probably shut everything else off too. So I'm in case anyone's been hiding under a rock, you know that the Collective Comicsgate Alliance has at this point surpassed the $1 million mark of sales or sales/pre-sales just on crowdfunding alone in the past 3 months. And you know, everyone's what's it? Everyone's patting themselves on the back, and they should be. It's a remarkable feat for something that has really just come up out of nowhere and created such momentum and a movement of such veracity and girth, as EVS might want us saying, that it's I mean, remarkable is like the only word that comes to mind. What say you, my friend?
Well, I was just talking to one of my buddies, John Delarose.
Yes.
He's a science fiction writer. He's a science fiction writer. He's also done some comic stuff. He's working on some comic stuff now, but he also writes for the Federalist, and so he broke some of these stories. And I was looking at some of the stuff earlier today. I was looking at some of the stuff he was writing back in like September and October of last year, and it's mainly reporting on, like, you know, how people are getting blackballed, shut out, how you've got like these little secret little Facebook groups of wackadoodles conspiring to, like, you know, assault somebody or defame somebody. And so to get from that point, right, where people are thinking, I'm going to have to find another job. You know, maybe I'll go be a graphics designer or I'll learn a trade or something, you know, to get from that point in, like, wow, you know, barely over 9 months to now.
Happy birthday!
Hold on a second.
Hey, Miller family. That's great. Is that a gigantic? Is that a gigantic dancing teddy bear in your home?
It is. It's a gigantic dancing teddy bear.
My wife is running over to take a peek.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's I imagine you can see the nonplussed look on my daughter's face because that's her teddy bear.
Oh, I know, right?
That my son decided to crawl up inside of. And Jojo. Oh, never a dull moment in the Miller household. Never a dull moment.
I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me compose myself. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Oh, no. Oh.
Are you okay, brother?
All right. There we go.
I'm tearing up a little bit myself. My daughter's not happy with it. You can hear her in the background.
Oh. Okay. I've all right. We should continue. So yeah, how far we've come in just 9 months and what people believe is possible now. And I don't even think we've scratched the surface. Now, we've introduced all this new stuff. You've got these new vehicles to talk to people. The interaction between, like, the sincere and warm interaction between creators, fans, and consumers is like amazing. Like, people now have this direct access. You know, somebody can just pop in your YouTube and say, "Hey, Mike, well, you know, what did you mean by this?" Or, you know, "What's your next book?" or this or that, and bam, get an answer. It's like having like a Comic-Con every day, except I guess you don't get to sell stuff, but that may change soon. That may change soon.
You know what? And you just talking about that kind of struck a nerve with me, because, like, there was somebody, I think you may have been on no, it was John De La Rose. It's De La Rose, right?
Yeah.
He today, someone was talking, you know, smack about me, on, you know, some SJW's page or whatever. And then John gets on there and he's like, you know, I just met Mike. He's like, I just met him, and he spent all this time telling me about, you know, all these things I could do to help what I'm doing. And he was just saying pleasantry after pleasantry about me, and I'm very, you know, humbled by it, and I'm thankful for it. And the person said, well, I'm glad to see you had a good experience with him. And I'm just like, you know, if anybody comes at me without a knife in their hand, they're going to have a pleasant experience with me.
Yeah.
Right? But if you come at me fists flying, you know, you might get in kind or get the same in kind.
Yeah.
Although on Twitter, I've been so busy lately, I've just been muting people that are like that. So
yeah,
probably good for my blood pressure. But no. But okay, so where that was leading me was, I mean, it's not just John. John, I was interacting with mostly on Twitter, on IMs and stuff, and I was, you know, talking to him there. But like, this is me, right? And what you don't get on message boards or Twitter or on Facebook, but you can get here, is me. You get my inflection. You get my wit. You get the way I use sarcasm, right? So you don't
get gigantic walking teddy bears.
You get gigantic walking teddy bears. You get kids with ghillie suits on their heads. You know, it's but hey, if you want to hate me for me, feel free. But don't hate me for some cartoonish image that somebody who has an axe to grind against me wants to pitch you on Twitter. Right? I don't mind somebody. I mean, I don't like it, but I'm not going to mind if somebody just doesn't like my personality, or for some reason I rub them the wrong way. You know, there's good people that rub me the wrong way. I understand it. Some personalities just don't mix well. But don't hate a cartoon of someone you've never met, right? And now they're trying to throw Mitch under the bus for I don't know what. Yeah, I was said something about that on Twitter today, and I'm like, I was just wondering what they would, because, you know, they tried to tear. Ethan and I are flamethrowers, right? So at some point we have said something that someone can dig up, take out of context, or even in context in some cases, and try to make us out to be, you know, monsters or whatever. Mitch seems like such a chill dude. I can't imagine.
He is. He's really.
But I know they'll try to find something.
Well,
you know,
what I've been telling people though is, this is not 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not 2 years ago, when there was no organized community of people that were just sick of all this nonsense.
Mhm.
Now you've got people that are informed, aware, that understand the dynamics, and now have heard like these big companies and the agents of these big companies telling them they're horrible human beings for like
Right.
2 years.
Yes.
And so these voices are rapidly becoming irrelevant. And
Yes. Which feeds
I've
back.
said this before. I think 10 years from now, at Harvard or somewhere, an MBA is going to be writing a white paper or a thesis on the events that occurred, right? Like a recipe on how to run a major corporation or a subsidiary of a major corporation and like a great American brand into the ground.
It'll be a great PhD paper. But that does take us back to the point. I'm currently in the midst of writing a PR. I don't want to disseminate the information, but the point that I was making with you before we got on the air was that that the Comicsgate movement and the Comicsgate detractors at
Right.
this point are such an insular crowd that most people, even in comic dumb, don't have a clue what
Right.
we are, right? But we just broke $1 million in sales,
Yeah.
and we ain't stopping.
No.
We are not stopping. This is going to grow exponentially. In 6 months, I can't even fathom where we will be in sales. But this milestone is newsworthy. And that's why I'm writing the PR, because I want to try to get ahead of it in the news, and I want to set the terms of the debate and control the narrative
Right.
that of basically the truth. Comicsgate is a movement it's a supremely inclusive movement,
It is.
right? As long as you're not trying to destroy comicdom with your ridiculous social justice agenda, you'd agree with everyone in Comicsgate. It's like the way the left took control of the narrative away from the Tea Party. The Tea Party started not only as during the Bush administration. So we had a Republican president who was doing freaking stupid stuff, which is why the Tea Party started. But everyone's like, oh, the Tea Party's racist. It was started against Obama. You people are freaking idiots. The Tea Party started because it's called taxed enough already. The Bush had.
This is why I don't want to surrender comics.
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to surrender the
any
narrative.
any storytelling, any narrative, you'll see that these people are desperate to lock down and
Right.
have complete control of, right? And
mhm.
yeah, you can laugh at it, but comics, and not to get too deep into the weeds, but comics is a medium for either directly or indirectly communicating heroic ideals, virtues, values, just retaliation, the just use of force. All these
heroes again.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to surrender any of this. Now,
Yeah.
I've completely reconciled myself to the fact that DC and Marvel are probably lost, right? Barring them experiencing like massive economic pain, right? Massive loss, and having some corporate intervention. I think DC and Marvel are lost.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah.
You've been my home for 25 years,
Well, dude, people have so much love for this stuff, but it's like they're like skinwalkers now. All these characters and stories that people loved, these are like shells, and something is walking around inside that shell. It's kind of like, what was that movie, The Pond People or something?
Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. That's literally what it is. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but I didn't mean to get you off track. I didn't mean to get taking control of the narrative.
No, I mean that's basically it. That's why I want to write the PR because I think hitting this milestone is legitimate, like outside our beltway kind of news, right? It's the kind of thing that I mean the title of the PR. I should have it memorized. It's not
Well,
that
is
difficult.
it CBS that Disney owns, or is it ABC?
I don't know.
Because I've noticed there's like
I
these
think
Marvel vignettes,
ABC.
like interviews and like cooking shows and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go ahead and assume that like once the news starts getting out, that ABC is going to be corrupt with it. There's a couple of other organizations, like I forget what I was reading, like the Hollywood Reporter. And the article was by who is that? Alex DeCampi also writes for them. Right in the middle of an article about some science fiction movie or something. Right in the middle of it, she writes, and EBS is like a racist. It has nothing to do with nothing. What was the movie? It's the nostalgia movie, Ready Player One. Ready Player One.
Oh,
Right in the middle of it, she inserts this like block that like EVS is like, it has nothing to do with nothing. She just works it in, but she's got a grudge. And so you got to figure like the Hollywood Reporter and some of these converged medias, whoever's affiliated with Disney and with ABC, that mess is going to be, is all going to, and you see this like in Gamergate. I remember somebody showed me this one thing where like all these, there was a, what was it called, journalist, where all these people were like getting together, all these journalists were getting together in this mailing list, and they all worked up this common narrative, and it all hit at once from all these news sources. The same thing, did you ever hear about the Milkshake Girls?
yeah.
The same thing happened then. If you looked at all those media pieces that came out, and they all came out like almost simultaneously with the same wording, there was collusion there. You can see it. It's
Right.
it's easy to see once you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And so I think we can control the narrative within probably places like the Federalist. It'd be interesting to see if you could hook up with Fox or something and get the news out there.
Yeah, there's a possibility of getting it in front of Glenn Beck.
Oh,
So one of my actually my partner works closely with the Beck people.
okay.
So if I craft this PR well enough, then perhaps I mean it's certainly newsworthy. It's certainly something that could get on, you know, some outlet of news greater than just, you know, websites or whatever.
A lot of it is just finding out who knows who, and just getting out and asking. I found when I ask people nicely, a lot of people will help me and do stuff for me.
Yeah.
I know John De La Rose writes for the Federalist and for Dangerous. He was on America's Network, OAN. He did a show the other day on OAN Network.
Oh.
And
Well, I'll send it to him. Actually, I'll probably run it by him then.
Yeah, you should. You should. There's another girl too, Megan Fox. She gets picked up by Drudge Report sometimes, and she's gotten picked up by Limbaugh. She's good on this stuff too, and she's actually written about some Comicsgate stuff.
Hey, look, I have my first imposter.
Oh no!
Someone named themselves Blacklist Universe.
Well, let me load up chat real quick.
But they're not using my HapaJap logo. Dude, you can't just use a Lone Star there. You got to use my HapaJap logo if you're going to mock me. What are they using? So they're using B,
is it
capital
a Lone Star?
I, ACK list, or capital I.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
The ping.
Iwazaru says, Blacklist Universe, I'll give you $1.
Are super chats on now? I'll toss you a super chat. Nope.
No, they're not. I don't. Are they on? I don't think they're on.
Not on yet.
No.
Is he entertaining? You know, if trolls are entertaining, I say leave them in.
This one seems a little low on the IQ front.
Are you low energy, buddy?
He says, when I look into the camera, you can see the ping pongs rolling around in my head.
Really? I would have gone like with an ancient Chinese secret joke or something. Mike, how do you get the dry cleaning so clean?
Ancient Chinese secret. Back when you could get away with that. Come on. What is wrong with this culture? What's wrong with this culture? Yay. Anyways, I got a freaking imposter. I love it. Love it. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
Yakuristu Unibasu.
Nice. Yeah, but you should. Well, man, you probably got more projects to work on than you have time to do them.
Oh yeah, without doubt. This is me.
I was trying to figure out how I could set some of that narration that we were looking at. I was trying to figure out how I could cut that in with. There's an Aerosmith song called "Living on the Edge."
We're living on the edge.
Yeah. There's something wrong with the world today.
My son was suggesting something by Johnny Cash.
Oh, interesting.
So, although that's all stuff you have to pay for. I don't know. I don't even know how you pay for it.
Yeah, I don't even. Like I've made a couple that I've uploaded myself, and since I'm not charging anybody for it, and there's obviously alteration and artistic license, I don't feel too bad about that because I'm not making any money over it yet.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have him play the piano and I'll just do my best Johnny Cash impersonation for it. It's a cover song.
Nice. Well, yeah, if you sing it yourself, I think you're good.
I hear the whistle blowing. Oh, wait. I hear the train a-coming, rolling around the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when.
Yeah, my name is Sue. Yeah.
I love that song.
I fell down, down, down into a burning ring of fire.
I went down, 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 and the flames went
higher, and it burns.
Burn, ring of fire.
Yeah, he's got so many good songs. He did a cover of a 9 Inch Nails song.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the
Rusted Cage. I'm going to break this rusted cage and run.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm not meaning to blow you out with the bass.
No, there's the one. Is that the same song with the one that's talking about heroin?
Is it? Oh, maybe it is.
Can't remember.
I think they're saying "Hurt" is the name of the song. Oh, it's not 9 Inch Nails. It's Soundgarden. Chet is correct.
No, but he does a 9 Inch Nails song about heroin, like scratch the hole.
Oh, okay, I get it. Rusted Cage is Soundgarden, but "Hurt" was the 9 Inch Nails song.
Oh, okay.
Man, the Lone Star Squadron is on it, Jack.
Yeah. Squadron shout out. Type your numbers in. Type your serial numbers in.
You can't mess around with the Lone Star Squadron.
Yeah, but definitely we need to get a hold of the narrative. We need to make sure we can get every news outlet we can to make sure we press the point. that this is it's the Tea Party for comics, but
Yeah.
the original Tea Party, not what the left. I mean, the left really controlled the narrative on the Tea Party and just destroyed the brand of all these different people from every walk of life and every political ideology getting together and saying, "Stop." That's exactly what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, half of these guys probably in my chat don't believe half of the stuff that I believe, but you know, they're not a-holes about it. Right? They just, you know, we're normal human beings. Nobody agrees on everything everybody agrees with, but we get along because you know, we're charitable and we're kind and we're nice people, and that's all we need for a civil society. And it's these people who are determined to force their agenda down the rest of our throats that are the freaking fascists.
All right, and just for clarification, everybody who comes and joins us and hangs out with us, you're part of the Lone Star Squadron.
And
But if you
everyone
want
is
a-
welcome.
If you
Absolutely
want a
welcome.
serial number, you gotta you gotta back up your words with your wallet. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
I
I
wish-
mean, even if it's only the
wish those-
$5 level, even if it's
Yeah.
only the $5 level, you gotta be
Yeah.
part of the team to get your serial number.
Yeah. But everybody who's here with us every night, yeah, you're part of the family. It's
Scotty
nice
Richards
seeing-
Studio. Hold on, Scotty Richards Studio says, Blacklist Universe, what we need is our own Comicsgate cooking show. How to cook without soy. Too funny. Support Lone Star.
Yeah, but gotta get that message out. It's interesting, man. And you know, because a lot of different people want different things from Comicsgate, and it's kind of transitioning a little bit because we were at one point where pretty much all we could do was criticize and defend people, and that's important. And the criticism needs to continue, even internal criticism. But
Well,
we're making stuff.
the
now.
criticism,
We're making stuff.
the criticism sort of amalgamated the the movement. No, not that's not how I want to say it. The criticism formed the basis that lit the fire that allowed the creators to create something to solve the problem. Right? That, you know, it's like in business. Does your business solve a problem? Right? Well, it was
Yeah.
the criticism that put a fine point on the fact that there's a freaking problem, you know, and everyone is like coming to listen to the people describe the problem, because it's a problem that even some people couldn't even put into words. It's like listening to Michael Savage, right? Where you're like, gosh, I know that there's something wrong with this situation, but I can't figure it out. And then Michael Savage will like spit out, you know, half an hour on a topic. I don't know if you ever listen to Savage. I used to listen to him all the time, but not so much
Yeah,
anymore.
I haven't listened to him in years, but man, that dude was a great entertainer.
Yeah, but he can see an amorphous problem and condense it into something you can focus and describe, right? And I think that's what it was with all these people that were like, they just lost interest in comics because, and they didn't really maybe even understand or feel why they were disinterested. But then you get guys like Cap'n or DNC or Yellow Flash, like voicing it, putting words and descriptions that give it shape, right? And with that shape, you beget motivation for a movement, and the movement brought the talent aboard to solve the problem. So it's all been very organic and very inclusive, and honestly, I think it's going to change the world.
Well, I was talking to a guy today. What is his name? Fat Panther, and he's a funny dude. I think he's from India, and he's got these great memes. And in some of the things he can't see yet, but I tried to be real cognizant to be, even though I disagreed with like some of the things he was talking about, I tried to be cognizant to be like respectful and tolerant
Mm.
and not just like not just brush off his opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, in a similar vein, like there's some of the Comicsgate books that I don't want to promote,
Right.
simply from a moral perspective or whatever. But
Right.
I would never talk bad about them or say that they're not well done or anything like that. But you know, we all have our own guidelines, and like that's what I'm saying. We're so inclusive that even as differentiated creators, we're not all going to agree with the stuff that we're doing. But it's not about that. There's no freaking codified book of law that's that's like you have to follow what Mike Miller wants you to create. And it's like no. We're all, this is freedom, baby. This is you know,
I
the
do
free
have to
market.
confess one thing to you,
Mm.
because a lot of people have been sharing stuff with me. I'm kind of partially dreading the day that somebody shows me something that I'm like, ooh, I don't really like that too much. You know, I've been real fortunate so far that everything that people have chosen to share with me, I
Mhm.
can read it through, look at it at context, and think about like where they are at as a creator. And I've been really pretty much blown away with most of the stuff that people have shown me.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm kind of halfway dreading the day I have to tell somebody like, ooh, I don't feel good about.
Well, see, that was the thing. I didn't feel that way about Blue Mamba.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't even see it. He was just describing it to me, and he just like straight up practically said it was porn. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
and
can't do
yeah,
anything with porn. Yeah, if
yeah.
it's
And
really
I'm like,
pornographic or
I'm, you know, go do your thing. I'm not going to promote that. But then and not even, I mean, I never even said anything. I just like kept it myself. And you know, I think Ali Garza is a fantastic talent and a good person. Um, but I'm not going to promote that. But then he came back, and I don't know, some other people were talking to him, and he said he's doing a PG-13 version, and I'm like, oh, fantastic! Go check out Blue Mama. I'm like promoting it now. It's like everybody go check out Blue Mama.
there's actually a dude in your chat, Ben Jones. Ben Jones is an independent artist. I took a
Oh, he
look at
says
one.
you tore his book up.
No. He's actually he's kidding here.
Oh.
He's kidding here. I had about 5 minutes, and I did a real quick parse of it earlier tonight. And it's a labor of love. And he's a right talented dude.
Right on, right on.
Yeah,
That's
so
good to
you'll
hear.
see me talking to that dude in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, this better not be porn. I'm not ever put a gun to my head and put a noose around my neck gonna promote porn. Sorry. I don't. Even
Yeah,
if you're Comicsgate, even if I love you as a human being, I'm not gonna promote your porn.
yeah, I kind of max out on degeneracy real fast.
Yeah.
And so some of my tastes, but like, I get it. I'm a middle-aged dude, conservative Christian male. You know, some of the stuff I might like might not be for you, and vice versa. I try to be careful not to throw any shade on anybody's work,
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
And so, if you're going to show
Time's
me
out.
something,
Time's out.
show it to me first in private, because I don't want to. If I don't like it, I don't want to say that in public.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to slow down your dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we're still all in the same team. We're trying to make a movement based in just great entertainment, great comic, and entertainment choices are different for all of us. We are not fascists trying to keep someone else's voice down. I mean, Ethan gets slammed for saying he'll work with liberals, but I mean, even if you have a liberal perspective and just want to do great comics, and it's not about shoving your political perspective down everybody's throat,
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. And, you know, and that's just making great comics, and that's all we want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great comics and good interactions. Like
Yeah.
I'm these days I'm having a really hard time separating the artist from their art. Like I just don't want to
Well, some of these
I don't
people,
want to enrich scumbags.
yeah,
I'm not an addict, right? I'm not an addict or a fanatic.
yeah,
I'm a discerning consumer and a patron, right? I'm a patron of the arts of a
right.
particular medium. And I'm not willing to compromise my principles just to feed an addiction, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to decide. You got to decide. I mean, I want you to love comic books, but I don't want you to buy stuff like an addict. You know, support the stuff that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
But like some of these people who have like kept a pull list for some of these corporate comics for 10 years, for what? For what? A lot of these corporate comic companies have unveiled contempt for you, and people keep giving them money. I can't wrap my brain around it some days.
Yeah, it's funny how many people have walked away.
Yeah.
They've just given it up. I mean, you spend a lifetime. Most of these people started collecting comics in grade school, right?
Yeah.
And they just walked away. And I
Yeah.
hear it all the time. These Comicsgate books are bringing us back. I mean, all the time, almost every single day, somebody tells me that. It's like, I haven't picked up a book in 14 years. I haven't, you know, I gave up after this happened. I gave up after that. And you guys are producing the first books that I've been excited about in, you know, 10 or 20 years, all the time. This is an audience that has been not just ignored, but spat upon.
Yeah.
By the creators and the editorial at the powerhouse companies. And you know what? We will embrace them and pick them up out of the dirt and brush their little knees off and send them on their merry way as happy little campers, because we're going to produce stuff they want to read.
Yeah, and that's the deal. That's the deal. This is the beauty of the free market, is that savvy people are able to observe when there's an unmet need and go out and meet it. And it's changing times. It's not enough to be just a good artist. You know, you got to engage with people too. And a lot of people, I guess, if you're good enough and you're established, you know, you might could work with relatively little interaction with people. But has that been a case for a while? Who can get away with that now at this point?
I don't know. I just sort of love the cosmic reckoning of a guy like Ethan Van Sciver being tarred and feathered by agenda-driven SJW trolls, being told to shut up or quit working, getting $500,000 for one comic book. I mean, it is, you know, it's so fantastic.
I don't want to talk out of school here. I don't want to talk out of school here because me and Ethan have a lot of private conversations. And sometimes people say this stuff and I see him agonizing over stuff sometimes. And it's like, he's not the person a lot of people think he is. You know, he puts on this performance and stuff, but he actually agonizes over this stuff, some of this stuff, you know, about supporting people and taking care of people. Ethan's a good dude.
Yeah.
You know, he talks a lot and he uses some bombast, but In my private conversations with Ethan, Ethan is a good dude. He's a legitimately good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, you're pulling my heartstrings. Love you, bro.
But
Thanks, Blue Bunny.
this is the way it's supposed to be, though. This is the way it's supposed to be. Everybody, you got to pull your own weight, right? You got to pull your own weight. You got to have something.
Yeah.
You got to bring something to the table. But good men and men of goodwill, they try and open doors for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you do what you can for whoever you can.
Yeah.
That's being a good person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't want to just blow smoke up Ethan's posterius,
No,
but yeah, he's helped people left and right. He's done fantastic things for people. So
we got we got that Stardust. Stardust got funded, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
did that got funded on Ethan's stream or?
I think between Ethan's stream and then I think between that Umbrella guy stream, between the
Oh,
two. I
very
think that
nice.
yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Gosh, where are we gonna be in 6 months, man?
I think there will be new comic companies in 6 months. Or
Well, there's gonna be
existing
Blacklist, that's
companies
for
or
sure.
existing companies will be reconfigured to accommodate the new reality.
Yeah.
We saw today that Marvel is going to be licensing to IDW.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's going to be like some of these children's oriented
Oh,
stories,
good. So that's good. They can have Aubrey Sitterson write them.
but it's like these are like mainline characters. I think Spider-Man, Avengers, and stuff are going to be licensed to IDW. I mean, that's strange days.
You know what? Marvel licenses Spider-Man to Blacklist Comics. It'll be a huge hit.
Well, I think if you can get a run, I like the Unknown Soldiers, and I like Lone Star a lot, man. I think Lone Star. I think Lone Star can gain some traction, and I think when you're really going to gain traction is when you have another team or another group that are coexisting in the same universe. So it's people like that stuff. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't want to see. People are so used to having like this big universe of people that interact with each other, this big world of that they don't necessarily. It's harder for them to consume stuff that exists kind of in isolation, right?
I absolutely agree with you, and that's why I mean, I've said it before. This idea of this universe has been around in my head for a while, and it's not like I just jumped out of the gate. For those who don't know, I didn't jump out of the gate because comics game became a thing, and I'm like, oh, geez, I should create a character.
I've noticed we very rarely talk about your existing body of work, and I'm sorry about that. Sometimes I'm just more interested in Lone Star, to be honest.
Yeah, that's good because that's what I should be pitching. But no, Lone Star is just the he's the igniter that will light the fire of an entire universe of characters that will, because my plan has always been to someday take on Marvel and DC. And I know people think I'm insane for thinking that big, but you have to think that big. I don't see it. I don't see it with IDW. I don't see it with Dark Horse. I don't see it with Image. All of the guys who are in the position to take on Marvel and DC, they fail to see what you just said, is that people want, I believe, because I do as a fan, people want a cohesive universe, a shared universe, where Spider-Man can show up in the X-Men for whatever reason, because they happen to be driving through New York, and there's an alien invasion, whatever. People want that kind of an interaction, and that kind of an interaction between books feeds the audience other books. It's like when you love Wolverine, but you never pick up Daredevil, but you see an issue of Daredevil where Wolverine's got him held up by one arm, and you're like, Wolverine's in Daredevil, I gotta buy that issue of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or buy that issue of Daredevil. And then suddenly they're hooked on Daredevil too, right? So you have to have this kind of interplay and interaction. It builds. It's good for the universe. It's good for the individual comic books, and it's good for the reader because they have these simple entry points into other books that they can go back and collect. I mean, it's granted. I understand it's going to take decades to get there. But I'm not looking at a short-term cash grab, right? I am in this to build something far greater than I am, far greater than any individual creator could ever do. And you know what? When I was looking for investors, because that's how I was originally the whole business plan was find investors and blah, 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 and all that stuff. I was like, I'm willing to give up ownership of my creators, of my creations for the greater good of what I'm trying to build. See, that's what I see in like all these people at Image and the Image Revolution sort of created this it's all about me as a creator mentality, right? But because of that desperate need for individual creator ownership, they lost the chance to build something that really could have toppled Marvel and DC. And that's something I want to focus on long term. No comments?
No, I'm well.
You're
I had
absorbing.
two large topics in my mind. One, you have to make money, right? So we're both Christians.
Yep.
You've got a large family. You have a spiritual responsibility to be a good shepherd to your family, to provide for your family. Not to be necessarily wealthy or anything like that, but you've got beyond people's normal expectations of worldly responsibilities. You've got a spiritual responsibility to provide for your family. And you got a football team just about. You got some grocery destroyers running around that house. Some of these people talking about cash grab, this stuff makes me nuts because I think about what I make, and I'm pretty good at what I do. And typically, someone has to make your gross revenue in a lot of things has to be 3 times what you want to pay yourself just to kind of be at that even point, if that makes sense. And so like I look at a lot of these people doing comic books and I'm like, oh my God, I could not do that. I could not do that at all.
Well, yeah, comics pay crap.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff is a labor of love.
Yeah, it's why I do conventions. I mean, even working full time for DC Comics, I couldn't pay my mortgage. I couldn't pay my bills in San Diego. That's how bad it is.
Well, I would go cuckoo. I would go cuckoo a little bit after a while. At least once a week, I try and like get out in the field and work with my men. I mean, I just periodically I need to get away from the desk, and I'm just thinking about being an artist and just like all day long, you're staring into this space that's like 8 inches by 11.5 inches or however big your bristle
11 by 17.
Yeah. And your world kind of becomes a pretty small space for that period of time.
Yeah, but I chose it, and so I accept it.
Yeah, but for me, no. I would be ready to commit Sudoku, even if I had the skill and talent to
seppuku.
No, Sudoku. I said what I meant to say, Mr. Moore.
no, but I'm saying that I went into comics. You know what? I went into comics to make money because I knew I could do it. I had always drawn comics as a kid.
Right.
And then I heard there was a lot of money. It was the boom. It was 1990s,
Oh,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
You came in the boom time.
I came in at the boom. I was getting $250 a page to ink Freak Force. And I was inking like 3-4 pages a day. So I was like, you know, it was like great. It was the boom time. I was going to buy a house, but I ended up blowing all that money on something else. But I understand. I've worked in video games, and I know that with my skill set, I could work in video games and make at least twice what I make drawing comic books.
Oh, well.
But I choose this life because, as I said, my kids are here, and I never saw my dad. My dad would come home from work, and we'd have dinner. So we'd have dinner, if he got home on time, and then he'd go up to his room to his personal computer, and he was one of the early guys that had a personal computer because he was in the computer industry, and he'd work. He's a workaholic. He loved his work, and I love my work, right? But that's why I put the computers in my room, because I love working, but I want to be near my kids. And so if I worked in video games, there's times in video games where you're under crunch, where you're working 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see your kids for weeks on end. And there's no flipping way on earth. I would rather move us all into a 1-bedroom apartment and stay near them than live in a mansion and never see them. But so I chose this particular. I chose to stay in this rather than go into a field that I had been in prior to having kids. I worked on the original Deus Ex game at Ion Storm, and yeah, I've made my choices, and I'll live with them. And I don't care if it's hard to make ends meet sometimes. I mean, dude, I've just had the roughest since winter. I've had the roughest year I've had in probably.
Well, I saw your live stream
half a
from,
decade or something like that. So
I saw your live stream today briefly from the convention. It sounded like just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
That's been my year, dude. That's been my year. I mean, holy heck. My son broke our TV in December, right? And while I was away at a convention, he broke our TV. So I come home and I have to chunk down $600 for a new TV. And then like a month ago, he breaks the new one. And, it's just one thing after another. And it's like, at this point, I can't even afford to buy a new TV because of how everything else is gone. I did this project and I'm 4 months without getting paid on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. The Lord will provide. I'm always of the mind that, what? If I lose the house, what's the worst that can happen? I move into an apartment, whatever. It's another adventure.
How long have y'all been in that house there?
13 years.
13 years.
So,
well, let's pray that doesn't happen.
I wish I wish I'd launched this campaign a month ago. No, but it's funny because San Diego is usually the big nut of the year, right?
Right.
And it's like I'm just treading water and like trying to take little gasps of air to get to San Diego, but it starts tomorrow. And then this royalty check from DC that should have come in June. I'm like, I asked. I think I mentioned it. Did I mention it to you, or was I talking to somebody else?
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
talking to me.
it's coming next week. So next week, God willing, I'll be flush, or at least I'll be able to pay down all my bills. I'll be able to pay the mortgages multiple that I haven't paid. And I'm not complaining. Again,
Yeah.
I accept this life, and every life has challenges. There's nobody has a perfect life. I don't care if you have $1 bazillion. Your life is not perfect. You just have different problems.
Different
And
problems. Yeah,
honestly, I think people with that kind of money probably have problems I don't want.
Yeah.
I'll take my little problems. It's all right. It's because in the grand scheme of things, they're all little problems, right? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's all temporary too.
Yeah.
It's all very temporary. And here I'm speaking from a Christian standpoint.
Always.
Then there'll be one day where all this passes away. Yeah. And so while we're here, I mean, material stuff is important, but what really matters is how we treat each other and what we can do for each other, right? What we do for our children, the kind of world that we help create, and what we leave for our kids and our family. Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
I feel a distinct obligation to people. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, this is fun.
I did get asked one thing in the chat.
Yeah.
What did they say? They said you should introduce me to somebody.
Oh, Gary Shipman. Yeah,
Gary
I saw that.
Shipman.
That's that note too. Yeah, Gary's a very a good, very very old. Not to say he's old, but he is. He's 52. That's old. Anyone who's 5 years older than me is old. No, he's a very, very good, very sweet person. I don't know if you remember a book called Packin's Land.
I looked that up the other night. That looked very kid friendly. Looked like
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of a Narnia-esque allegory on our faith. And yeah, he's a really good guy. And yeah, maybe if I get on here early enough, because he's out in Illinois, Zion, Illinois. Uh-oh, doxing.
Oh no.
And and so he's not quite the night owl that we are, or I am. Not you. You're a night owl just because you live in Hawaii. So you're
that's
just
the only
off.
reason why. I'm barely ever up past 10 on purpose.
But yeah, if if we're all up and around at the same time, maybe I should get us in for a nice little three-way aloha hour, because
So I know you got to go soon, but are you fired up for tomorrow?
no.
How come? How come? Is it because you're exhausted, or is it because you don't have anything to sell? I heard a whole stack of the
an entire box, and she shipped 4 boxes, and so there was about 75. It was 300 prints.
Correct.
So there's about 75 in 3 of the boxes, and then like I don't know, 50 in the other one, or something. However the math adds up. And one of them, the FedEx guys dropped, and these boxes weigh about 30 to 40 pounds.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, the entire stack had a dent about a half an inch long on one corner. So that sucked. But she was like, I mean, I told her, and she immediately she's like, tell me what they were, and I'll reprint them right away and get them out to you as soon as possible, like overnight. And I'm like, wow, that is like amazing customer service. I'm like, I'll tell, if anybody wants to do metal prints, I'm going to send them your way. So she's like, oh, thank you. So, yeah, I should plug her. I can't remember her company name. Hold on a second. I'm going to give her, oh, darn it. I closed my,
What do these metal prints even look like?
oh, gosh, I wish I had one on me.
Can you put one up on Twitter later, or?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll put one up on Twitter. They're amazing because they're on brushed aluminum, right? So if you have something with the right color range, like saturated colors, cool lighting effects, see on a metal print, as opposed to any paper print, no matter how glossy it is. If you look at a paper print, when you're looking at the black, you don't see black. You see black ink with the ambient color of the room around you reflecting into it, right? But on a metal print, the black looks like you're looking through a window into space. It's so black. It's like legit, the absence of light. And then on the spots where you have like lighting and color effects, if you have it angled correctly with like a light source, it's really cool if you like light each metal print individually. But if you hit it just right with the light source, it's like it's giving off its own light. Oh. So a metal print really looks like almost like you're looking at it on a super high definition television. It's got like its own light and pure blacks, and it's like, people are like, are these holographic? I'm like, no. you're just seeing this depth and light coming out of it that you can never ever get with a paper print. So they are really something, and they are quite expensive to print, which is why they're so much more expensive to buy. But man, the people that get that early bird special, and I think there's probably only like 8 of them left, they're gonna see that the Lone Star covers in a way that nobody else will. Nice. They're gonna look so fantastic.
You did get your Blacklist Universe cards printed out, though, right? To hand out.
Yeah, okay. I'll film those and show those out. Yes, tomorrow.
Yeah, I would take those damaged prints out anyway. Take them. Or do you have to send them back? I was going to say maybe you could, say, hey, I know they're damaged, but here you go.
Oh yeah. We'll mark them down and sell them anyways.
Yeah.
Because I've sold damaged prints before to people. I just take $10 off or something. I mean, it depends on how bad they are. Some of these are so bad they're not just like, some of them were like curved. Some of them were like crimped. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be quite a discount. But we'll see.
Well, let me get you fired up for tomorrow.
All right.
Well, one, I'm looking at your Indiegogo page, and you're not that far from 25,000.
Where are we at?
Where are you at? Let me scroll back to the top. You are at $24,664.
Oh, nice! It's a couple hundred more than last time.
Now there were 396 members of the Lone Star Squadron.
Yeah.
So we almost have 400 members.
Squadron shout out.
Let me get you fired up. I'm going to get you fired up with your own words. How about that?
Sure.
Yeah, my wife says I should give you a woo. Woo! Because this dialogue is growing on me. Not the block yoink, but every time I read this, this grows on me a little bit more.
Block yoink.
Ready? You ready to hear your own words?
Yeah.
I remember the world a little clearer than most. The air is different now, thicker, full of a seething, misdirected discontent, anger, resentment, entitlement, is a world of spoiled children, raised by spoiled children, and raising little spoiled children of their own. It's getting harder to tell the good guys from the bad. In the sea of miscreants. Miscreants?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right word. Is it miscreants? My wife's answering back to me. I'm reading dialogue from a comic book. She's like, yes, it's miscreants. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm asking you. You're a pigeon. I really need to bring a notebook and write this stuff down, or at least a magazine. Being a vigilante can get pretty boring some nights. Ever tell you how I know when someone needs my help? You see, I have this animal-like instinct that allows me to sense fear. That's my cue. Yeah, it's growing on me.
Yeah, man, we gotta. I can't wait to see that animated. We gotta do that. We gotta do that.
Yeah. Get San Diego Comic-Con wrapped up, and we'll get on, man.
Yeah, because man, I don't know if everybody knows that video where we did that. I called it out that like where to see that part of the video. That is now my #1 most viewed video.
Oh, it's awesome.
People like it. People like it. So yeah, guys, sorry, don't have time to read through the chats. It is my wife's birthday, and I would like to spend some time with her before we fall asleep. So thanks, Edwin, for being my co-host on the Aloha Hour, which I think was like 2 hours.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah,
We get caught up in this stuff. I should put a timer out or something. Thanks everyone for being here. If there's any questions you wanted to ask that didn't get answered that you think are important, please put them in the main body of the chat. Get down there, join the Lone Star Squadron by supporting Lone Star. Then, or before, one or the other, join my mailing list so you can get all of the goodies and crap associated with the mailing list. I'm tired. And then if you want, go to my web store and buy some prints. We got some good stuff coming out. I should have done a video. The Comicsgate Alliance t-shirt is now available on Crypto Zombie. No, not Crypto Zombie.
Crypto Fashion.
Sorry, there's another YouTuber I follow called Crypto Zombie. On Crypto Fashion, and it'll be ready in August. You can pre-order it now and get it in all kinds of sizes, shapes, and sizes, and blah 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 blah. So, Edwin, would you like to?
Well,
say goodnight?
Yeah, and so do fantastic tomorrow, right? And we pray that God will take care of you and your family, and and we'll help you. We'll help you fill your needs and the things that your family needs, and we pray that in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
But Lone Star Squadron, thank you once again for joining us. I appreciate your attention and your time so much, and have a beautiful day.
Lone Star Squadron dismissed.